apostles and elders and great ones on the whole world, fellow right? But you bridge life, come out to meet the folks out down for this kingdom according to the words in the Holy Bible, right? The only and true word of God, all right? And pertaining to all the prophecies that speak of these last days which we're presently in, all right? Where this year, through the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the heart with us as a year returning up, and that's what we're seeing. Right now, the latest thing is, you could say, when you guys do biblical prophecy, Yahweh Shai basically spoke of the times being, spoke of the thing that's going on right now, it's being known as the beginning of sorrows, right? That's how he spoke of it, right? And the reason why I mention that is because all the things that are going on present on the earth pertain to that time. And it's going to lead up to a more devastating time that we're going to head into. Dealing with, with the things I mentioned, basically earthquakes, war, nations coming against nations, pestilence, and famine, right? Lack of bread. So the latest thing that's come out is basically the strep virus. They said 6 children have died. I think they said in the UK. They said various different places, like Bristol, I remember was one, like different places. And they're kind of, it may fizzle out like they do with monkeypox and all the other stuff. But it's still they're gonna trust. Yeah, whatever it uses, that's what it uses. And let's not even forget at the point that Bill Gates, a minute ago, he basically said that, what did he say? He said, we're preparing for another virus. This one's live. And the next one that comes will be devastating. And he said it with a smirk on his face. A laugh. So that's basically the kind of time we're in, right? Whereby, the things that are going to happen at this time are going to basically be greatly devastating, right? You know what I'm saying? I'll read it. It's the book of Matthew 24:4. It says, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. Right? And we're in a time of Job 9:24, the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. Alright? Which pertains to Proverbs 16:4. Alright? The wicked being made for the day of evil, not being in that day of evil. Of Esau, Edom, group, right? Also known as soul for white man, right? This whole thing is deception. That's the main purposes on the earth, to deceive many, right? Even his own damn people. That's how deceitful he is, all right? That's why it also says in the book of Proverbs, the tender mercies of the cruel, the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel, all right? Even take, for example, the Maxine, right? The juice. Basically, anyone that's taken it was perceived to be something that's beneficial for them. But it's worked out that they've been dropping dead, right? The purity. And that's because we're in a time of deception. Now, with all those things being taken into account, it shouldn't go over your head that the main proponents of salvation away from this time of evil, they'll make him a deceptive. They will take away his true image to make sure that people follow after the falsehood, right? And that's what basically spoke of another Christ, basically, another Jesus, as they say. And that's why if you Google the true name of Yahweh Shai, being Yahweh Shai, and you Google Jesus Christ, basically what you'll find is there's 2 different individuals, right? So reading on verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Alright? These things have to come to pass, they have to happen, because they perfect things that are stated for us to know what time we're in, right? And you know, the Heavenly Father says it's going to happen. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. Right?
Revelation 19 says, I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See thou do it not, I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren, that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. That's the key thing, man, the spirit of prophecy. That's how you tell one, you know, those who are speaking of the truth from the liars, man. Because we're in a time where it's what? False prophets. And really, at the head of that, like the brother mentioned, the top receiver is Esau. That's the one where, you know, this guy's trying to essentially prophesy of keeping his kingdom running, you know, until the end of time, so to speak. But as we can see, it's you know, it's on life support. It's been on life support. You now have, well, you had the EU. They said it was tentatively putting a cap on like Russian oil and how much they can sell it for. But then, depending on how, well, that's essentially the rumblings of that economic warfare between the EU and Russia. But then, depending how it goes, it could just end up with everyone in Europe being fucked out of gas. Because if there's enough of a market elsewhere, then they'll, you know, less will be sold to Europe, and then it'll become even more. Was it winter of discontent? It will become even further discontent this winter. And it's funny because they named it what, the winter of discontent, and that's because why it's going to be peak. On the way here, I was like, I mentioned to my brother, I saw those people protesting about like landlords and rent basically. But why? Because people are free. People are all kinds of stuff. Like the rent prices have been going up, and like even what you've been able to buy. Remember those? I can't remember if it was a YouTube video, maybe it was on the news. They were showing like where people have been renting like the cupboard under the stairs. That's like people have been putting it out there saying you can rent that. People have been renting like you know, like clothes closets and whatnot. Just stick a bed, anything you can do, just stick a bed in it, and then just say like, oh, we're renting out, and people pay because people are fucked. People are done. There's a lot of people where it's like they've come from countries where it's like their economy's even more dire. And for them to try and do something, they've got to try and make do over here. So they just need a place to put, a place to stay. But all these things work. Now's the time where we're seeing it all come to life. And that's why it's like, you know, people are either even more like, diving deeper into deceiving themselves, trying to pretend everything's fine, or they kind of question like, what the fuck's going on?
Alright, I'll go into the strap. Alright. So it's from BBC News. It says surge in strep A cases. Health officials have recorded more than 430 cases of strep A in Scotland in 2 weeks. Strep A infections are usually mild causing illness ranges from sore throat to scarlet fever, but can develop into a more big deal.
It's been made up. It's been made up.
Yeah.
Possibly, it could have been a vaccine injury.
It doesn't matter.
I think it's a vaccine injury.
Yeah.
I think it's a vaccine injury.
Yeah.
Kids have been jabbed for so-called flu, and they're trying to cover it up with some news and nonsense.
And I think, because we said this from before, whatever happens after the vaccination.
They're going to cover.
say
They're going to go.
Sainsbury's
Oh, that's that, and that's that, that's that.
Get something else now.
Right, thank you.
They're going to
So glad you're awake. Pleasure to meet you, son.
Pleasure
Pleasure to meet you, son. Take care.
keep doing it.
Do your thing, bro.
I've got to tell you something.
Tell you what. Go on. Go on. No, tell me something.
I was going to say, main thing to look at, probably not already, are like, yes, that's why they're bringing down crypto.
Crypto
Yes.
bar.
It's
It's a credit. It's a credit system.
Yes, social credit score.
Right, so it's not like here's your dough. It's like hang about. Here's your dough. But
You did this.
I know you bought 2 burgers. No more burgers now.
Yeah.
You bought a packet of Stella Artois. Hang on, man, no more. Because you already bought it last week.
Raspberry.
Be careful, man. We're going to be like fucking China, bro.
Exactly.
I'm thinking out loud.
But you know what it is? A lot of people, they can't
No,
see it.
listen to me. In lockdown, when the first see me, I'm walking in Sainsbury's, I'm walking in Tesco, I'm fighting people. People are talking to me like I'm talking crap. I'm going, listen to me, fuck yourself, leave me alone, I'm fighting. Well, oh my God. I said, you come up to me. Stay away from me if you're that scared and go and do your thing, right? They've been jabbed. I've just lost my auntie. Listen up, Wednesday, my auntie, right? Fully into it. She was fine, she was fit, two children, a grandchild, double jab. Next thing you know, passes out. Husband finds her, take her to hospital, they call it sepsis. She died because of the fucking poison. Yes or no? Anyway, another day, bro. Another day. What's up? Wait, listen.
Sorry, everyone.
Man, that's experience. Like a wrestling ball.
Yeah, I was like, what?
But I remember it's like they were saying they started just before that was going on. Now it's been, the FDA said yes, 5 to 11. I think over there it's 5 to 11. They said it's cool. People are jumped on it. And I'm like, bro, it's like at this point, bro, it's like these little niggas been at school for like the last how long? Like what the fuck do you expect to happen? The thing is even shown that the shit don't even last like 6 months.
Yeah, they said it when it first come out. So you're gonna have to get shot every 6 months.
I'm like, bro, you're gonna have little essay just take it, get a machine gun in the arm. Non-stop. Like, come on, man.
I got it.
But that's why it's like, you know, now the new thing started. It's all about what's the term? It's optics, man. View the narrative. Because that's why it's like all these things occur. It's like no one really looks into it, no one questions it. But hey, that's the spirit. We had
But you know, like I was gonna say, you know where they're from. There's some cockneys. They're from over there. Down there, you go down the Thames, you see the East End of intro basically. There's some fucking cockney music. That's way too cockney music. That's the point. And just as another point, hey, you had this imbecile that came out, from IGK, and he basically saying, man, that how much them Africans are not no Israelites. He said the Igbos, the Shantis, the Yoruba, they're not Israelites. Now, if you're saying that, there's no way in hell you'd even think to include some white where the Christians are going to ever be part of the children of Israel. they hop to it. She let her strap. They what?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, geezer. What's going on? Yeah. Yeah. I knew what it was straight away because they got a whole different kind of spirit to everyone else. And even the same way, a lot of the individuals I grew up with, well, likewise as you, are just those same kind of people basically. They're lively. A lot of them are called Jake as well, so they're fucking smart. They're fast talking, quick witted. That's that whole thing where the British are known for their quick wit. They're one of the main proponents of that whole stereotype. You even had during the time of the 60s, you have immediate Alfred. Alfred in Batman. What's his name, man? Michael Caine. During the 60s, he led the way. One of the key components of that whole, because he spoke, the company rhyming slang during that generation of the late 50s and 60s, and he popularized it amongst in British culture, basically. Man like Del Boy, all them type of one of these fools. Peggy mixes. What's the name of right? All of them popularized things. Of course, great like they popularized it popular, but they made it popular basically in their culture. Right? But the point being is like you're saying those guys, you're saying bloody night Ebos, Eurobars and Shanties are not Jake. Where they got taken from. They're not Jake. You ain't gonna even be able to see the fact that someone like that was a Jake. Alright, and his missus. They're like they're I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, I gotta think for cockney girls, man. I can't even lie. Because I grew up with them, it's just like there's a familiarness. I can't pronounce it, familiarity. But they're lively, they're like Jake with it. They're not the most ideal pairing if you want to have nothing serious. But they're just like Jake with it. They've got the same kind of, sassiness. Anyway, going back to the point, you got a precept
Romans 8 and 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are children of the Most High. Yeah, the Spirit is what bears witness. Because it's as far as so now with how Jake's been scattered and how it's even mentioned what they're going to be gathered in Isaiah 11:11. You're going to have Jake gathered all over, man. So it's an island to the sea. So it's one of the islands to the sea. It's a big fuck up island.
the mother of the harlot, in fact, that controlled the British Empire, said the sun would never set on it. And you think there ain't gonna be no Jakes over there? Especially when it's the stronghold of Jacob as well. That's why you have the 3 lions on the shirt. Is there lions in England? Hell no, there ain't no fucking lions. The lions we're talking about the lion of the tribe of Judah, the divine right of kings. That's why I had it. So you don't think there's a remnant of our people over here that basically, got faced, their bloodlines still exist, but they look like heathens? Of course there is.
Because even with the Empire, it's like the good examples with Vietnam. Like Vietnam, when the Americans they all fight for the women non-stop. Yeah, of course they were.
Oh, it's funny, I saw a clip, music clip. But they, and one of them said I got afro. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Jake was smooth as hell.
Yeah, that's a little giant. Giant. But basically, what we were saying, he's saying that, and because we did a video with the cover of the car, Rock the Bar, and the Rumbia, right? The live show, talking about how they basically, there was a battle, American battle, up north, in Yorkshire, between bloody the black and white folks. And then more information how the black folks with their culture. And the European Edomite is different to the American Edomite. There's a through the word America means bitter, right? Going back to the word Mara, the bitter waters of in the book of Exodus. right? The Edomites in America have a different type of smoke for Jacob, right? Why? Because they have to carry out, establish the landmass known as America, right? But with all that at hand, I'm getting lost in many points. But you had the video with those jakes basically, and what he was insinuating was saying that the soldiers over there were coming over to Vietnam and saying don't fuck with no niggas, and then teaching the Vietnamese women the same thing.
To not fuck with no niggas.
Basically.
But then that's the point I was gonna say is it's just how with Vietnam you had Jake going over there slaying Queen. How much more so when you had Jake from different parts of the empire in Britain, they were being used to fight different conflicts as well. They showed it in 1917 where you had the Indian soldiers being used. There's for the one where it's the two black pilots.
Red
So I remember that. I remember that when you go to the Imperial War Museum, they have a little bit where they're talking about the Jake soldiers were being used, some of them from islands and whatnot, in World War II. So then all these conflicts, they would have been used, because that's part of when you deal with Britain. It's like how much of the population of the island to how many soldiers you get from that, to have all these different regions that need to be gone to basically enforce imperial law. Of course you're gonna have to train up regiments from among there. They're gonna have to move them around. That's why they even had when they made it the what was it called? The Commonwealth after they collapsed it, to where people could move from where they were to come to the UK to go to other places. So you of course you would have Jake soldiers going around doing the same thing they're doing in Vietnam. And that's been like Jake's MO for the job. When you see I remember a man telling me about Nigerians in fucking Japan, man. These guys all up in Okinawa and shit. That's like Jake has done been gotten to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and even Jake from Nigeria is like one of, in terms of the old world, one of the greatest experts in the old world in terms of Jacob. They're moving around, they're all up in Eastern Europe, doctors and whatnot, plastic surgeons, engineers, they're all up in Greece, like Janice, Antetokounmpo, even over there in the Middle East, you've got loads of them. There's not anywhere you can't go being in a bump into it. And that's even why I believe, I don't know why he said it, that's why that member of ICK said about the Euroball like they were superpowers. Yeah, I don't know why he said that shit. But out of all of the people, everyone kind of knows Euroball is kind of like, I ain't saying because I'm Euroball, it's just one of the kind of things, they have that, because even like, I got a friend, so-called friend of the world, from Edo, which is like a different, they're like the mix of the Yoruba people. And he basically like, the Yoruba people always say everything like revolves around you, bro. Like you guys are the only ones. Because they have that kind of pump amongst all of the tribes over there. They're like the most, most like highly esteemed. And they're kind of like got a target on their back. But that doesn't mean that all the like Ghanaians, they're like the only people that we in terms of when you deal with West Africa are like real contenders too. It's Ghana. Because the main beef is between Nigerians and Ghanaians. Everyone knows that. Like it'll be like who's dollar price better, who dances better, who makes better music, who does this. That's the main competition. Even they got kicked out of the World Cup. I see, first thing I'm going to see is Najma bantering them saying like, how you gonna make it? Because that's the kind of competition, it's like a friendly competition. But in order for them to have a friendly competition, that means they're regarded as like a world competitor, right? But that's, I got a precept from the book, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and 64. And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Alright? And that's basically the curse that the Heavenly Father put upon us. That basically we're gonna, be scattered amongst all nations and be buried, buried, fucked up state of affairs. Right? But the main point being is that we're scattered from one side of the earth to the other. So if you saying that now, if you ain't on the sign, that means you ain't part of the tribe. The Heavenly Father didn't say that. He said we're gonna be scattered from one end of the earth to the other. Right? Now what you have to understand with that sign, you're gonna have the main deliverance take place in the land of America, yes. And you even have the driving force, the key individuals in the land of America, in the land of, yes, that's going to be the case. But then you still have scattering the sprinkles of Israel around all the earth. Just like back in the time of the Greek, the Roman Empire. You had Paul being the apostle of the Gentiles, magnified his office. But he was going down to Greece, different regions, basically establishing churches amongst them. The Church of Corinthians, the Church of Corinth, all right? The Church of Ephesus. These different churches that were established were going to be scattered.
Ezekiel 11:16. Therefore say, thus saith the Most High Power, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come.
And that's why you have us out here in London, right now, in the United Kingdom, choosing this word, because why? The Heavenly Father scattered us, we're sprinkled out, and then now wherever we are on the earth, He's bringing us up in the spirit. We're doing the work to the Heavenly Father, according to that prophecy. That's the reason why I have these scatterings all across the world, basically. It's for the sake of the Heavenly Father's word being accomplished. Now, for us to be scattered, it's just, we pertain to the same sets of people that now share the same heritage. Some of us do, not all of us, but pertain to the same sets of people that say the big hope of the slave come from, right? We'll be technically from what was formerly known as the slave coast, right? So what does that mean? That means that we share the same heritage as you guys over there in the Americas, right? But we just have a closer bond to what the prophecy in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, where it tells you that, the woman will be nourished for a time, right? Being in the land of Africa. And even when you think about it, are you telling me that everyone that was over there, they all got snatched up? There weren't some that escaped and established themselves elsewhere? Do you know how big the land of Africa is? Let's just take Nigeria for example. Nigeria's population of 230 million in the continent of Africa. That's one country, right? The population of the United States of America is 330 million. So they're 100 million shy of one country of the population of America. So that kind of gives you an idea of how big that landmass is. For there to be that many people. And you're telling me they had superpowers to get everyone from all over the guy. Come on, man, be real. They had horsepower back then. And they came in and established railroad. The fact that even they established railroads, gives you all the information you need to know. That lets you know that the landmass is so large, they need to establish their form of the country to get up and down the country. Alright?
Yeah. 31 and 10 says, "Hear the word of the Lord Yahweh, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, He that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him as a shepherd doth his flock." So yeah, Israel's scattered. They got to be, like, for them to be gathered, they've got to be scattered. They have to have Jake, there has to be Jake scattered all over the world. And then they'll have to be looking like every time they marry them. Because why? Just like to Babylon, the scattering in Babylon, you would have residue and James there. Them guys have no clue they even have no clue where their heritage goes back to. They're just going to think they're push out.
I think let's say it's the first generation, what's going to happen? After a while, they're going to assimilate the generation. You know, it tells you that in the Genesis that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, they were good. They basically, they had sex with them. That's the same thing with all the nations. That's why over here, I wasn't just learning sex. And like, you had two nations. One of them was Russian Nash, another one was Scottish Nash as well. So it's like, before the main mix was there was what? Irish and Jamaican. You always had, y'all say, what part of Irish and Jamaican, English and Jamaican. Now you have Russian, Eastern European, and Nigerian. English and Nigerian. Why? Because the way the Nigerians came in, then they started doing the same thing. Benjamin was doing before. So it shows you the same dynamic taking place. That's how Jake moved. We read this. Alright, this is John 7 and 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, "Whither will you go that we shall not find him? Will we go into the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach?" Right, so that pertains to what the brother just read. About basically there being a scattering, and then there was a time where this diaspora was basically pulled back together, but it was done by the Lord. Now you remember that the tribe of Levi that basically, they did their record and they destroyed during the time the siege of Babylon into the land of Jerusalem. Basically, they lost their record. Say they were the line of Aaron. They weren't allowed to do any work in the temple. Now, what was said as a way of actually a solution to that whole issue was that they'd have to wait until the Urim and the Thummim basically show otherwise, or that the Redeemer come and basically show another way. So that was the only way that they could put back into the smoke. By the Lord coming, or the Urim and the Thummim, guys in the temple, yeah, they are the line of Aaron, they can be the way. Or, the Urim and saying that, or the Lord is coming and redeeming them. And that's the time we're in now, right? This is being done, and even like the brother first read it, it's being done, it's more spiritual now. Because the Lord is coming in the spirit of the comfort, right? And it's shown in the scripture brother, Romans 8:16, right? The Spirit itself bears witness in our spirit that we are the children of Israel. So if you read this word and it resonates with you, guess what? That means you're an Israelite, right? You could read this and I'll read it. I'll go right here. Right here. It's John 6:63. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. That's what you thinking, Isaac. It ain't about, flesh and how you look. That's it. It's more about,
17, Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria hath devoured him. The last is Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, who broke his bones. And that's how when you go back, how it really began. Yeah, really from Egypt, even from leaving Egypt, there would have been a residue. And that's just been cycles over and over again, where Jake was taken into captivity, and you would have had residue left, or scattering left. But then what? That's why even
Hosea 8:8. Israel was swallowed up. Now among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein there's no pleasure.
They just got Jake, left there as a vessel where there's no pleasure. And then, like the brother mentioned, the video, the one in Vietnam, that one, what was it? The Vietnamese weren't being taught, man. Fuck them niggas. Essentially, that's
The
the
establishing of the proverb and the Bible among the nations.
yeah. So that's as peak as it gets. And it's plain. That's the thing. It's like it's a living colour now. You could go and see examples of it, and then Afrobeats should already let you know that there's no way in hell these guys ain't subjects. Not really. Nas is the knife in the side, man. Because you try like these guys, of course there's no way in hell they didn't listen to Omac. You try, you play some tracks, you're like,
It was written, I am. Definitely it was written, I am. Coming out now.
That's what I'm not. But then obviously with, just being as simple as, bone-headed Israelite, man, being real simple. And then that's why it's what, like the prayer comes down to the spirit. Acts 2:5, and there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Back in the time of the Romans, even then, you had Jews coming from what? From all these different nations. They were scattered, and they'll basically what? They knew they had to come to Jerusalem certain times of the year to keep the high holy days. So that's how much. But then from then, that's basically how you had it. You had the dynamic of what? Of Israelites scattered abroad. And that's why it's like now, we're in the time where what? Everyone's essentially been scattered. So 2 Thessalonians 2:1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of anointing is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. That falling away needed to happen. Where what? The bulk of Israel that had been keeping to the covenant, they fell away. They basically got scattered and essentially were, rather than following after, rather than having the records, rather than having the temple, they'll basically do the shadow of things, man. They might have kept certain things. If you go into it on the West Coast, there's certain customs that have been kept.
Circumcision.
Yeah, because even if
Everyone I know that's from West Nigeria, any part, you're all circumcised. Like, you can't say that. Okay, why did you do that? What you do? Even our youngest brother, he got circumcised. The Jake like that, he had head with the candle of light in his eyes, man. He had an Ethiopian on there. He said, I hate Nigeria. I can't stand it. Come back. I know why you hate them. Bubblehead fucking Ethiopia. So what tends to happen is that they got reputation. Yeah, well, and that's why I mentioned you got to think it's very like, when it comes to women love them, right? And then that's why you had a riot over in South Africa. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, something like that happened. So all the shit that pertains to Jake, man, what you got Judah here right now, know, they call it the passport. What they doing? They're flying out to Brazil, Colombia,
yeah, Salvador.
yeah, and they're just having their way with the women. And then coming to Eastern Europe, doing the same thing. Alright, it's the book of this is the book of Colossians 1 and 20, 1 and 19. It says, "For he's the Father that in him should all fullness dwell, and having made peace through the blood of his cross, by him to reconcile all things unto himself. By him I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven." And this is the point. "And you that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now have he reconciled in the body of his flesh through the death to present you holy and unblameable and unreprovable in his sight." Alright? And that's another one, aliens to the commonwealth of the outside. But basically it says what? We're alien before. Right? Why? Because basically, as a brother, we fell away from the word of the truth, you know, the truth. We fell away from the truth, and our shine, making himself the sacrifice, and we were reconciled unto our shine. Right? But then there has to be a great fruit in the way. Which comes from our heritage. Right? And when that happened now I can say, okay, you say, no, this brother that was as doing the video, I can turn around and say, okay, good, yeah, you say you're tribe of you or whatever, but how do you know you already know your father's father is white, or even like 10, 11, 12 generations down the line? You ain't an Israelite. The reason why you believe this is because it's not because that you're American, African American, no. Because you know what? In it. It's because you believe, you heard the word, and you're faithful to the word, you believe it. That's what it really is. That's what it comes from.
Recently, it's like now it's what it's moved to what? The priest and Melchizedek went a different order.
Yeah.
Because as far as to fulfill it by the old means, we don't have the capability. Ain't no one's got their papers. No one can be like, okay, I believe I'm gonna keep to this Y and Z. It's a thing now where it's done what? Spirit.
That's all we've got.
Alright, this is Ephesians 2 and 11. "Wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who were called uncircumcision by that which is called circumcision in the flesh, made by hand." Right? So you had those, this talking about Greeks, how you had the children of Israel in the land basically saying, look, you not unworthy. Why? Because you took on the Greek customs. You speak Greek, right? It's unclean. It's esteemed as what? Eating pork. Right? So you only imagine now, those same Israelites back then, they all speak English, man. They even speak good. They speak a bastardized form of like, even worse, man. So what could they be esteemed of in light of that? Even worse, right? But as the prophecy spoke, it says there should be a falling away, and everyone fell away from the faith, basically. So reading on, it says, verse 12, that time, that at that time you were without a Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. But now in Hamashiach Yahushua, ye who sometime were far off, made nigh by the blood of Hamashiach. That's it. So it's Yahushua that basically drew us unto him in his time, right? Ain't the law, ain't the fact that you can say, listen, I'm a Judite. time true. You know it's how
foundation of that. Faith is the only means by which you even have a handle to put it up.
Yeah. Because it's by faith you believe that. Because when you go to what stuff deal with it, but you know this guy from ISUK, what is using the sign? So he's saying the sign, well the sign is a spiritual thing. Because when you get the breakdown of the sign, you get it from what? Genesis 49. And how you know it's a spiritual thing, what's the first thing? It says Jacob gathered his sons and said, let me gather around, let me tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Alright? We're in the last days right now. Was you known as a Jew that? No. By the signs, spiritual signs, let you know you're a Jew that. Spiritual signs let you know you're a Benjamin. Spiritual signs let you know you're a Levite, Simeonite, Gadite. Alright? All of these things pertain to the spiritual understanding of things that are happening before you
get to anything. That's the bedrock, that's the root. That's how it's, because now that's how it needs to be done. And that's well why it's such a alien concept to you know, people that don't have any faith.
Yeah, muscle-headed Negroes like yourself, man. With your bow wow braids, man.
Right, you know, it's just coming with some 1993.
That kind of, you need to really, what you need to do, you need to go on wrestling, man. WWE needs to bring that back, man. Reminds me like a 80s wrestling.
Yeah.
Booker T and them, man.
Man, like Booker T, nigga. Yeah, Romans 9 and Galatians 3, okay, let's start. Galatians 3:21. Is the law then against the promises of the Most High? The Most High forbid. For if there had been a law given, which could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law. But the scripture hath concluded all under sin, the promise by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach be given to them that believe. But before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Yahushua, that we might be justified by faith. But after that faith has come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster.
Yeah, so the law was basically a schoolmaster. Basically, the best way to put it in allegorical form would be riding a bike. Right? When you're a young child, you're trying to learn how to ride a bike. You get a stabilizer. Most of the time you have a stabilizer. So you can get into the gist of, okay, this is how you ride a bike. You move your legs around, you use the steer, the handlebars, and you move. Now once you come acclimate to that, when you get used to it, what happens next? You read it. But basically once you get used to it, now you take off the stabilizer, and then you got to get into a core engagement. You got to learn how to stay balanced and ride the bike. You know, that's the last step basically. Adding in balance. Alright? Once you get, then you're riding your bike every. So would you need to go back to stabilizers? No, you don't. Why? Because you know how it's in you. The stabilization is within you.
Yeah, because to keep, as far as it's like, that's the thing, it's like, you know, you have the guys like, yeah, you don't need to keep the law. So you can, if, you know, if the guy is talking about like, you know, the law essentially like, you know,
the stabilizer is now in you. It's your core muscle, your body.
Already
You know how
upright.
So that's it. So that's why now that there's faith, because Yahushua is in you, you're gonna do it anyway. You see another man's woman, she look banging, you're like, oh wow, and then, oh that's her husband. Oh, go back. Yeah, that's the part of the law being in you.
But then that's what's been lost on a lot. Well, people that are Christians, but they basically see it as how they apply it for sin.
Yeah.
But that's a complete opposite of what it is. If you've got faith, you're then meant to operate within those frameworks.
And that's
you're going to have faith that, oh, this is the correct way to go.
So that's the thing, they never received the gift of faith. Right? They've been blinded all the time. Right? Because remember, it says not being mixed with faith, the word is, prophesied. Because why? The main word, when you become Christian and you say the words like, okay, what's the name of the Lord? They ain't gonna have it, and you say what the name of the Lord is. I'll call it Christ. I like that sound there. Why do they say that? Because they have no faith in it. And that's why they would say, no, they have to do whatever the hell I want. Because they don't have no faith. Right?
Romans 9 and 22. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endures with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy which he had afore prepared unto glory, even us whom he hath called not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As he said, well, yeah, it's not something that was just going to the bulk that was in Judea. It was going to what? To even those that were scattered, those that were in Elon, those that were in Cush, those that were in Hamath, those that were in Tarshish, those that were in Londinium, those that were in Hibernia, Jake's basically had scattered. It was for them to get to. But it says, well, as he said also in Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power. Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, through though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. Yeah, you essentially got it where the recognition, that's something that's going to come. And it's basically going to be included in that as well. It's those that were scattered. But even at the time of the Romans, they'll be looked at side-eyed, man. Like, yo, why are you fucking with the Gentiles, man? Why are you dealing with these men? These guys are outside, man. They're in the outer court. But then what? It was about bringing everyone, because why? Them same guys were esteeming themselves. Now same thing. They ain't got a record to speak of. Most of them would have been in the world, growing up eating ham sandwiches, not keeping the Sabbath, doing all kinds of madness, man. So it's like now they're in the same boat. And that's the beauty of it. The Lord basically and that's why it's like, some guy, some upstart cretin in ISUPK basically bluffing up. Right, trying to say like, oh yeah, like there's not a single Israelite that exists on the West Coast. Bro, you're out of your mind. You're actually batshit insane.
I always say this thing, it would be a beautiful thing if you could meet some individuals I know from the landmass, man. I believe they're going to be business and real rich kids in terms of like within their field and what they do, where you're going to say like, wow, this guy is just they say heathen or is he a king? And I show you some athletes I know. I just know all kinds of people and I just know it's different. Same so good. I know a lot of people that they're like, there ain't no two ways about it. There's some different kind of they come from a different kind of
they gotta be there.
Yeah, they got to.
I'll go on. It says, and as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of Sabaoth left us a seed, we have been the Sodom the Lord of the Sabbath. Yeah, and the blessing.
Nah, tons of bar, I believe is the word. You can look it up. They're basically Lord of Hosts, Lord of the Armies. So.
and been made like unto Gomorrah. What shall we say then? That the Gentiles which follow not after righteousness have attained to righteousness, even of righteousness which is of faith. But Israel, which followed after the law of righteousness, have not attained to the law of righteousness. Wherefore, because they sought it not by faith, but as it were by the works of the law, for they stumbled at that stumbling stone. Yeah. So it's like if you're still trying to, trying to maneuver through the law, so you catching legendary elsewhere, you've got sins unto death written etched in your soul before you even knew. Yeah. Like you already lost. It was a done deal. So for you to, why would you even try and go back to that? When there's a path where it's like, yo, the only means by which it can be fulfilled has been opened up to you. But that's what? From the Spirit. So you don't realize the magnitude of what you're trying to, when you're trying to vainly accomplish. What you want to get?
Habakkuk 1:5. Behold, ye among the heathen and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work the work in your days which ye will not believe though he told you. And what's that work? The work of what? Israel looking like heathen nations, not looking like what they look like according to how they were made. Going back to the time Adam, he made from the dust of the ground. Now Israel, that's basically like a soul of white man. He even look like Amalek. That's how crazy it can be. But guess what it takes? We have examples like Amy Winehouse, right? You're not just a movie that done with white girl, nah, yeah. Even after I come across one next girl on the Instagram, so she's like a white girl from London. And I thought she looks kind of like quarter past. She had like brown eyes, a bit like bottom nose. She said, I'm white. I was like, no, man. White girl, man. Like, that's it. But that's the point. It's one thing trying to do. You have the spirit of Jacob, everyone, every nation, because the Heavenly Father said it's scattered all over the earth, these little factories. Right? Basically, what you're kind of, what you are perpetuating is basically a lie. Right? You're basically sabotaging individuals' faith from coming to the truth. And that blood will basically be on your hands. Okay? But you guys, you ain't gonna be mindful. I mean, some of you may be because you take to the left. But a lot of you are gonna be mindful of these words because it's hard to do. This is a thing that needed with color. It's not a thing of spirit. It's not carnal. You got anything else? I'll go back to you. Alright, so back in BBC News, surge of strep A cases reported across Scotland. Health officials have reported more than 430 cases of strep A in Scotland in 2 weeks. Strep A infection is usually mild, causing illness, ranging from a sore throat to scarlet fever, and can develop into a more serious invasive form A, strep, eye gas, IgA infection. Jim McMillan, right? Public Health Scotland said the numbers were similar to the last surge in 2017-18, but despite 7 deaths across the UK, no children have died in Scotland. Parents urged to be aware of strep A symptoms. 6 children died with strep A bacterial infection. Strep A, why it can be dangerous. What to know? The UK Health Security Agency said the rise of strep A cases most likely due to high amounts of bacteria circulating in these social mixing. Come on. Come on. Come on.
So you
Come
got
on, man.
Come on, bro. That's like,
It's ridiculous. Let's read it again. Like, now, you know, anyone that has any fucking sense in their head would know that social mixing has been on the face of the earth forever. There ain't no new uncontrollable virus out. According to ESOL, they leaps and bounds in terms of hygiene. The worst times of hygiene was when? The dark ages, right? There was no sewers. People were just dying from tuberculosis, cholera, all these fucking fevers, all that kind of shit. But now we're in a time where there's nothing like that, right? Let's read it again. So it says the UK Health Security Agency said the rise in strep A cases is most likely due to high amounts of bacteria circulating and increased social mixing. Now, if you know anything about the mixing of social, well, anything in this world, the way the Heavenly Father designed it, is there's a thing known as resilience, right? The human body, the immune system, or even the word immune means in service, right? So your immunity is based on it being in service, so it has to be exercised. That's why it's kind of like Super Saiyans, man. You have to, you know, you get a cold or a flu virus, you know, any type of virus, what happens? You get it, and then what happens? The white blood cells fight it, and then they overcome it, all right? And then when they overcome it, they basically they've built up resilience to that said virus, right? So now if that said virus comes around again with black one, and they've dealt with it again, so what happens on the other side? That virus then has to mutate and make up a new virus. So the whole idea of mixing, you know, when you have viruses mixing, why does that happen? I mean, sorry, people social mixing. All that means is that the viruses are mutating. And then what has to happen? The people have to fall ill and then build up the white blood cells, the immunity, to be resilient. That's simple. It's not that deep. Right? Now when they say immunization, you know, dealing with vaccines and all that kind of medicine, all that's meant to do is basically have a lighter form of the said virus in your body for you to build up resilience against it. So it's doing the same thing that technically, that's what they say, it's meant to be doing the same thing that will naturally happen anyway, but it's just in a controlled environment. So if anyone's got any sense, you see how fucking retarded what they're saying is. But guess what? A lot of people haven't been sense. They don't see what's going on.
people, maybe around the world. It's been done since the beginning of time.
Right? So it says parents, but it's like the brother came up before. I didn't even catch his name. The individual came up, what did he say? He said that really what's happening is since the people are taking the vaccine, you know, the juice, any side effect that happens after taking that vaccine, right? Basically the fallout, the next thing they'll say is an issue is basically the side effects of having it. Like when you have monkeypox. Why would people get monkeypox? Because it was infected. It was shingles, right? Which is basically a side effect of taking the vaccination. That's what it is. Alright? But it affects mainly, you know, homosexual men. Right? And you had what was another one? You had a couple of breakouts. All the things that happen, they're all just side effects of taking vaccination. That's it. It's that simple. No, it ain't rocket science. Well, what does that mean? There's a leverage now to come around and say, you know what? Yeah, that happened because there's a new outbreak now. So you need to take this. So what they're doing is they're killing you slowly, man. They're slowly killing you.
And it's been for a minute. It's been all about compliance. But that's essentially been what the goal is, building and ensuring compliance. Because the thing is if you know, if you're a young, healthy 20-something, why would you even need to be going out and jumping on you know, getting the juice when, you know, if you have no underlying health conditions, just average because wise, it's because psychologically everyone was being, they were having it being pushed on them to where they're on their mind just like, oh shit, I need to go on as soon as possible. That's the same, you know, that's what's essentially happening, where this compliance is being, what's the word they use? People are being trained into what to comply, and whenever something comes up, the expectations are, oh, okay, we need to mask up, we need to this, we need to that.
Let me read this. It's the book of Psalm 91 and 9. It says, because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh, which is my refuge. Let me read it again. Because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
So, read it again.
Alright, I'll read it again. Psalm 91 and 9. Because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
Play this day, man. As far as what? You know, we've got the name of the Lord, Jehovah Hashem Yahushua. Says what? It's a strong tower. The righteous one and into it is safe. That basically having, with Jehovah Hashem Yahushua having your back, then you're good, man. You're covered. And that's really, that's another hurdle that most people can't come over. As far as, like, expectations now is, you know, you go to the GP, they give you something, and then what, like after a while, you know, you go back, you get the second treatment and whatnot. All things, essentially all ailments, that, you know, some form of medication is a solution. But then what? There's the thing, as far as these things are important to happen where you got a physician, and then you're basically dealing with things from the spirit as well. Because that's an aspect people don't feel.
Yeah, certainly. When you speak about, you know, the physician where it says, hey, pray that the physician, because it's imperative, you fall into the hands of the physician. You don't pray unto the Heavenly Father. I'll go another one. Isaiah, to show you the diet in contrast, Isaiah 10 and 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth.
Yeah. It's essentially breaking off that relationship with Esau. Because by and large, that's what the great bulk of Jacob are. They're basically still in a mindset where they're just what? They're looking to Esau for the wonderful food to ease for whatever they're going to be doing with their life. That's essentially the source. But then it's like how is it comes out? Jacob's still busted up, destroyed. They're essentially able to build up, you know, scramble together kind of lifestyle. But then there's no legacy, there's no nation being built. They're essentially like shackled on the edges of Esau's society. As long as they comply with the system, then they can have some goodies. But then what? You know, how are you able to build? Are you able to build up a house? Are you able to build up, you know, what are you able to really do? Not much. And then even if you try and do that, as time goes on, what? Esau's indoctrination, that's going to be put, that's going to carry further weight in the minds of your children going down. Because what, you know, you have to, like the amount of hours kids spend in school, it's like what, 5 days, and it'll be, I don't know, 8 to 3. That's like 7 hours, 35 hours a week, where they're just going to be completely outside of your influence. That's it. That's how the system's set up. It's funny. I was talking with talking about Muslims, how you have girls who wear like a hijab, but then they'll have on the tightest clothes, they'll be wearing makeup and whatnot, and how essentially what the hijab's meant to be used for, to cover up a woman, to basically make her modest. That's just basically being completely outdone. You know, you can see a boob, the line of a boob crack. Yeah?
You know, when I went to a shop,
is just going to stand blur on that.
maybe when you wear contact like negative crazy. You know when you just look at it like, oh yeah, the job there. And you're like, oh my god, what the hell? I want to do that.
Yeah. But that's the point. They're essentially within the feminist framework. They're just a Western woman. But they're
in somewhat disguised.
yeah, and it's just like they're doing it, then all the meaning it's meant to have, they don't hold any of that within, like they don't actually think it means anything.
It's just like Christianity. You have loads of people who grow up in the church, so. But it's
Like
culturally, not culturally, it's more like just as simple as like routine of every day you wake up and you go for a walk.
it's like Muslim men.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I go to church on Sunday. What Almighty God we serve? Like, you're gonna put some offering on, then you're gonna see Sister Auntie Joy, Uncle Derek, give them say no, have your last conversation, and you might see them in the market during the week, kind of do all that. But it's just the whole time but yeah, you don't live like a nigga, man.
The faith of that's meant to come from it, that's non-existent. Because that's what he's kind of saying. He's saying like he doesn't know why like these Muslim guys are more upset when they see like women doing that. But I was just saying it's like as far as for them, they just see a woman wearing the hijab as they're working the W situation. You know, but then in reality they don't need it. It's like saying like I don't know when the girls when they'll leave the house wearing it. But then, as soon as they get out, they'll take it off. The hair's gonna be out, there'll be makeup's out, they're gonna have the tight dress on. They might leave, with something else on, and then afterwards go to a friend, change, do makeup, whatever. That's just how this place is. But then that's the impact that we had over time. If you're here, because you could set up your house, you try and reinforce it, make it sure the foundation. But then it's still in hell. There's only so much of a foundation that you can build. Daniel 2, hello? Daniel 8:5. And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. Yeah, through his policy, he caused craft to prosper. And that's one of Esau's greatest tools, and greatest needs. Through policy, through
they're doing that recently with like post on the street. Like they're doing that through the gun rounds. They ain't going down the same road with the gun. But they're gonna have an amnesty or say people need to give it a gun. Now they've made it tax through. I think it's going from Congress. So if it does pass through, basically it's a thing where stabilizer within all guns, within bulk of guns. They said if the law passed, basically it'll bring like 90% of guns out of function. Like overnight, and if you actually point it could be useless. So I believe I didn't read into it, but it's like known as stabilizing rats. But if you have these guns legal, so that's doing that. They're basically taking away, the rights, the so-called rights to the Americans. They're taking it away, by way of policy. But that's how they do it. They frame it, they're doing it. It's a way for them to establish themselves is their laws, right? Amongst other things like, you know, even the other one would be, before would have been abortion, right? Abortion was in place for what? Really to sacrifice babies to Baal, but as well as, you know, gentrification, not gentrification, population control, and eugenics. That's eugenics, you know? Establishing each other as the dominant culture, right?
Yeah, I think they said, funny, it said like, according to the census, like Christianity is a minority in the UK, and like in London, I think being white is a minority as well. Which, you know, that should be a surprise to anyone who's actually been to London.
But doesn't mean that it's like probably Africa or India or Middle East, because control is still in control is still in the hand of Esau, man. All the places of any leading or influence is controlled by Esau, man. He still has overarching control of this place. But they're you know, they're riling up the people by saying them kind of thing. They're trying to bring about that whole children of men scenario.
Because essentially it's one of those things where these things are there. People full of something. So you go outside of London, then you know, it's like, bro, anyone that's a so-called ethnic minority, they've been into the countryside, they've been in a pub, they all tell you the same thing. They'll tell you, you know, it's start off like, oh, you know, like, yeah, you know, you wanna go around and check it. You go to check, you go to a patty shop. That's, you know, that's how men will start dealing with it. Pretty soon. Then you realize, oh, if one ain't around, they're calling me a nigga too. They'll be slinging niggas left, right, and center.
What?
Yeah, what, man? Man, there's one guy I know, some old white lady who works with her. She has a collection of watts, man. She said, oh yeah, I don't want to, I can't say what watts anymore. One of my colleagues. It's like, but that's, you know, that's the reality is, the shit's there. But that's it, that's how Esau maneuvers, man. Everything's through policy to where it's on the surface level, it might not look like, oh, because as far as with the gun rights thing, they always say it's like, oh, there's a school shooting, blah, 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 etc. Or, you know, it's a mass shooting or something. It's like, as soon as that happens, it gets politicized. Remember when there was one where, I can't remember, it was the high school, then you had that bald Northern Kingdom girl just going around screaming at everyone about no one should ever have to go to heaven. It was funny because there was that situation where a guy wanted to do a mass shooting, then someone even like yanked him down, bro. Man shot a few shots. I don't even think he killed anyone. I think he just injured someone. Then he got put down, and that was not spoken about at all. Why? They're going to take away gun rights. But that's you know, regardless, these things it's going to be done through the process of signing. It's like them mass shootings, that's a real demon over in America. That's what's running rampant. It's like nowhere else has.
Rarely, Norway.
Yeah, Norway had one. I think Sweden might have had one. But it's just like you don't really have that same demon elsewhere.
Really absolutely. Proverbs 12:10. Righteous man regardeth the life of his youth, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So everything you see Esau doing right now, you know, with this whole trip right now, you know, what they're saying, you know, welfare, children, and all this type of stuff. That ain't what it's really about. They say, you know, the tender mercies being true. There's an underlying evil intention for them to basically harm a lot of children, right? Cut more people. Well, that's all it's about, right?
because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. That's going to be for Esau. When everything's all so-called coming together, that's when it's all going to start to unravel. Because as far as for now, things have been going smooth. Why? It's the spirit of Esau essentially pushing to forward. As soon as the green light's given, the four winds are going to get loosed and the destruction is going to be unleashed. But then what? There's prophecies that need to be fulfilled. So the spirit's having these things moving to where it's like the machinations of those in power, they're coming to pass. But then what? It's a thing where it's going to reach a certain point. And it's not of the elites, it's really plans of Yahweh Hashem Yahusha.
That's why last third these messages come out. It's basically what were they saying? They said, look, it's gonna get, it's kind of gonna have a social credit score. Ate too unhealthy last month, you're gonna stop doing this. Or you kept it very healthy, we're gonna give you this reward, this sort of thing you can have. Like it's gonna and the thing is over here in the UK, you have the blacks, the gentlemen kind of shit. This thing was singing about fucking what's it called? Straight man. Talking about how he's a gentleman. You have that black culture over there. You have a lot of that on the just like, oh, too good to like. Say everything, they're gonna go get along, or go along to get along. And it's gonna be to an error. That's the only people I don't wind up taking that mark.
That's the end of the line. It says what? When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. He shall rain it upon him whilst he is eating. That's really how it's going to be, whilst he's eating, man. Whilst he thinks he's got a full meal, he's got the whole plate, then it'll be like, what? He's declared. So, he's been confounded, man. He's been confuddled. And he's essentially having what he thinks he's achieving ain't going to come to pass. And that's what most people are completely they've got no clue what's going down. They see things happening, they're just like, they're still keeping in their mind like, oh, it's going to go back to normal. There's going to be some form of going to go back to normal. There'll be some form of what's it called? That 2019 spirit will make a return. They'll be able to just go out, go for dinner, watch a movie, and then maybe hit up a club, and then go out and have a good time, continue their life as it was. But for you to even have access to those things, you're gonna have to comply with the Quran. You're simply gonna have to integrate into that system to maintain some shadow of that lifestyle. And that's, with doing that, then there comes the judgment. And that's what they've essentially hold that in no regard. They'll just be look. Just trying to, kids to feed.
Yo, listen.
That he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is torn coming out of the body, yea, the glittering sword coming out of his wall, terrors upon it. the other thing. Is this entire system, as it's constructed, is going to be at its end. Basically, going to be what? It's going to be put down. It's going to be ended by thermonuclear destruction. Like glittering sword, man. The weapons, the missiles, the ICBMs. That's. Oh, fuck. I think it's half hour. Yeah. Close, man. Oh, man. What, that glittering sword, that weapon, that's the upper. This place is really going to come to an end. Which then makes it even more vain to be compliant, man. And these are things that are going to be cause people a lot of shock. Man.
Fucking hell. I'll leave this here, yeah?
Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them who go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. And that's really what the mindset is for a lot of people. They're basically complying because as far as for them, they don't see there being any form of resistance against Esau. They're looking at him like he's got the missiles, he's got the aircraft carriers, he's got the F-16s, he's got all these different means and capabilities. They're just like, yo, you're just gonna have to make do. You're just gonna have to continue on underneath this system, because otherwise, there's what other means do they have by which to survive? But that's where it comes to a matter of faith. It says what? And trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. And that's where the flaw exists. Because as far as it's the means by which you're going to get by, the brother read it earlier, as far as with what having Yahweh Hashem Yahushua covering you. That's how you keep yourself safe, man. Quoted like Proverbs 18 and 10. The name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it is safe. That's a means by which you're essentially going to be able to walk. So withstand. But that requires needs to be mixed with faith. You need to have faith in what? In Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to come. Most people they need to be faith. Yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not pull back his words, but will arise against the house of evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men and not powers, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hopeth shall fall down, and they all shall fall together. So all that effort, all that work being put in, all that faith being had in Esau, within his system, complying, to the end, what's it going to be? Once the judgment comes, then it's all going to be waved away. And that's what most people don't get. They don't realize that's the reality of how that path ends. Jeremiah 51:6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Jehovah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Jehovah's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations are drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations are mad. That's a key thing. This is why everyone's looking to Esau. Why? They're looking at him like he's like he's basically gonna give them the covering, and he's essentially gonna be the one to resolve any issue. But that's part of what's called it. That's because their minds essentially they've come under the cloak of Babylon. 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. And that's really what you've had. You've had the image of so-called white man shifted from how it was previously to where during the times of conquest, he was the way the esteem he held himself in was completely different. And as well with how he behaved. But now that he's basically what? The conquest is over, he's settled down, and it's about maintaining control. And it's really shifted from pure military capability to more financial and political control, influence. That's mainly and moving, in the shadows. So now he's been able to walk, to remold his image to now being an angel of light. So back in Jeremiah, it says what? Jeremiah 51:8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. And that's what most people they're looking at America like this, some form of salvation. It's funny because when you look at the levels of death, especially after 2008, globally most countries their debt is hitting the same level. But then especially after 2020, the lockdowns and how money printing has been since, it's absolutely insane how inflated a lot of these economies are. And how fake a lot of that is. Because why? They just printed money pumped into people, and people have been spending, people have put in the stock market and whatnot. But then what? In reality, how sustainable is the economy in the long term? How many of these businesses are going to stay afloat? How many people are going to be able to keep up with increasing interest rates and whatnot? Increasing costs of things that should have happened, and now you've got a fucking absolute shitload of inflation coming in at once. Habakkuk 2:5 says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, who cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all people, and heapeth unto him all nations. And that's essentially how Esau established himself off the back of that greed. He says, what? Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Yeah, how long? Because that thick clay is those what? Those heavy debts. That's what Esau's laden himself with. That's a big part of how he's been able to increase and really keep his kingdom running and growing, taking on like humongous amounts of debt. But then what? All these nations are basically going to be like, how long? Because all the people that have a bone to pick, they have some form of issue. They're looking and going back to like, yo, I remember like 100 years ago X happened, or 50 years back this. A lot of these countries, their independence dates are going to be in the 1900s. So it's like within the space of a century for the vast majority of them. And they're going to have issues with what? Because the state they were left in, a lot of them weren't even, they were all jacked up now. They had all their resources sucked out. So then what? They would have been having to make do. But it's similar with like these Commonwealth countries where they'll be somewhat reliant on trade or what's the other word? Tourism or whatnot from these Western countries. So they have to comply with them to a certain extent. But then what? A lot of them, they still, they ain't looking like, yo, we really mess with them like that. So back in Jeremiah 51, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen, destroyed. Alpha, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For a judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. But yeah, trying to heal Babylon, man. Trying to keep it going. Because like even now, consider how the economy is going to be over the winter. It's going to be absolutely batshit insane. And depending how much the relationship with Russia, the Russian gas breaks down as well, then it's going to be intensified even more. Because even with currently you have like caps on petrol pricing, and how much you pay for gas as well. In just natural gas in the UK until I think April. But then even after that, how much is it going to cost in the meantime? And then even after that, are people even going to be able to keep up? Because it's like a lot of businesses as well were saying for them to pay for energy over the winter, it's going to be to the point where they're not even going to be viable. Like they might be able to last through, but then going forward, it's not going to be viable. So they'll just throw in the towel. And that's what happened. Like you had that happen during the first lockdown, where there was a bunch of businesses they would have lost certain shopping seasons, so they just threw in the towel. Or they might have tried to recoup it afterwards, and then they didn't get enough, and they just threw in the towel. So then the state that's going to be in after Christmas, after winter, because even now it's like people have been saying, I think in the US the jobs bounced back. There was a gain in jobs, and as far as spending wise, the economy's doing all right. But that's because it's in the lead up to Christmas. After Christmas, no one's going to be spending shit. Notoriously, January is a month where no one spends money anyway. But then how much more so now, with all these different factors colliding within, all these different factors colliding over the winter. It's gonna be peak. No,
What's up?
I need to go take a leak.
Oh, okay. Oh man.
I
Alright.
want you to think. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the point where,
You need to go like that.
yeah. At the limit of
Give me a sec.
It's really nice.
So verse 10, the Lord Yahweh brought forth righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh our power. Make bright arrows, gather the shield. The Lord Yahweh raised up the spirit. Kings of Medes will survive against Babylon to destroy him, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. So yeah, it's what. That's why you had Russia be roused up. Essentially had it coming against what's being fronted by NATO in Ukraine. And that's the means by which what Yahweh Hashem is going to bring vengeance against Esau and against America, against any elites.
Esau is the sword. Esau is a sword. Right? The Heavenly Father is made to be used on the earth. Mainly one of the reasons of its use was what? Psalm 17. Right? And it's been used against Israel. So now that the time of the captivity of Israel has been fulfilled,
And like, that's
now there's no need for him to be used as that sword. So now it's time for what? He that living by the sword, but should die by the sword, basically. So now it's time for, the end of that sword existence. Right? But up until that time, it still has its place. Right? It's actually gonna multiply leading up to that time. Right? So let me read this. It's Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, right? Which tells you in Job 9:24. The earth is given into the wicked, the speaking of Esau, Edom, and so the white man. Right? As it tells you in the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, right? Which is thy sword. And that's why we're in a time of evil. This man is being used as a sword, not only upon the children of Israel, but also upon who else? The people of the world, and even his own, by his own damn self. From men which are thy hand, O Lord Yahweh, from men of the world which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy treasure. They are full of children and need to rest in themselves to their babes. Right? Read to scripture. So yeah, swords. It's lucky. Yeah, Esau is a sword. He has his time and his moment. And he's being used as such, right, to accomplish the will of the Heavenly Father. What's that? Psalm 17:13. I was going into the sword, basically.
Isaiah 54:16 says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals of the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So that, that sword, that key weapon is what? The nuclear missile, which is, you know, what people are now living in a shadow of fear of. Because why? You have the conflict with Russia and Ukraine, and Russia's being looked at as what? That's that nation where they're ready to you know, to sling, you know, to press the button, have it zoom off. So that's teaching to get for now. Because as far as with nuclear missiles, that's something that most people haven't really had considered as a reality since the 60s. It's like with a lot of things, it's essentially what the Cold War coming back to, you know, the heat being turned back up on it.
Did he even bring out Ezekiel 21? Because the sword is being sharpened now because why? You have different forms of the sword coming into play. Like with Russia, they're making greater nuclear warheads basically. And even with things like the hypersonic missiles. Alright, they
Yeah, that's something there's still no competition.
yeah.
So I think funny enough, I think Elon might have been developing some.
But they tried to say
people, I mean, there was multiple people trying to develop them, but still, like, they ain't quality.
where they were trying to say as well that America has two new elements that fell from a meteorite.
That's what?
Like a meteorite brought back two new elements. But I think that's more propaganda because I remember the apostles went into it. I couldn't actually dig up the information myself. I didn't really look too hard. But basically Russia got meteorites that landed in their atmosphere, in their area, and basically gave them that technology to take it to another level basically. So the Most High is laying them up with the needed, you know, kind of things to help their artillery go to a different level.
Yeah. What is it?
Hazelnut cookie. I meant to ask you earlier, but I forgot.
Ezekiel 21, at night. Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Most High power, or thus saith the Lord Yahweh, say a sword is sharpened, and also furbished. They sharpened to make the sword smooth. And that's the reality of it's proper. Because as far as for now, it's like when you deal with other parts of the world, obviously they're acquainted with war going down, with conflicts. But it's only really over there in the Western world where it's become something that's far off. Because the recent memory is going to be like Afghanistan and Iraq, and most people didn't even like fighting that. They would just kind of have heard about it and they would have seen shit on the news and they would have just been like, I hate war or whatnot. But then you know, they don't have intimate understanding. You know, you go to the people who've been on the West Bank, people that've been in Syria, they talk to people that come from what do you call it, man? From Ukraine. People are sounding traumatized as hell. Because hey, when it comes down to war, it's big. It gets messy, man. They want that sword. That means by which all this is going to be put to an end. And that's what people are living in terror of for the longest, man. Because as soon as it becomes like, oh my God, Russia could do it, people are going to be losing their minds. Oh my God. It's furbished they make glitter. Should we then make mud? It's funny as well, because like when you like shine a sword, you'll get to like that level where it's meant to shine, well, you have a certain level of, you know, there's an allure to it, man. There's a beauty to it. But then what it says, what we then make mirth. That's the thing, because actual destruction is coming. That's the thing as well. It says in Matthew 24, people are going to be making mirth to the end. People are going to be partaking in folly. They're going to be getting married. You know, they're going to be celebrating. They're going to be doing that. Is it what? I can't remember if it's Greek or it's Italian. Where they cut the cake and they feed the cake to their wife. They're going to be on the wedding day, just yamming it in their mouth. And then, you know, they're going to see, like, what's going on? Why is the alarms blaring? What's going on? And then what? Everything's going to come into an end. So it says, it's furbished and make glitter. Should we then make mirth? They contemn the rod of my son as every tree, and they have given it to be furbished. They may be handled. His sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, to give it into the hand of the slayer. Cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people, and it shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite their sword upon my fight. Yeah? That sword's going to be bringing all kinds of lamentations. Because why? You're going to have lamentations among the heathen, lamentations among Esau, lamentations among Jacob. Why? Most people, what? They invest in the continuation of this place, man. They desire for, you know, this kingdom for what? To continue. But then what, man? Hey, but just like with all the other kingdoms, man, it's got its set time to flourish. And it's going to be done, man. Running.
It's going to be, you know, you look for something that's like, you have to pay subscription or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I know I have to big. But yeah, man, with that, man, you know, say all praises to Yahweh, but Hashem, Yahushua, but Hashem, Yahushua, Dash, the order to the apostles and elders and the world. So the world, God willing, we are in this week. So what?